This is John Coley with GrowingYourGreens.com. I have another exciting episode for you, and I'm here on location, another field trip, 2013 San Francisco Flower and Garden Show. Welcome! And today I'm here at the Flower and Garden Show to make a video for you guys to show you all the cool edibles growing on the inside, how they're teaching about growing edibles, the edible display gardens, and also the booths that have to specifically do with growing edibles and things that can help you grow more food at home. Now I'm here at the garden show today, and I always encourage you guys to come to your local garden shows to check them out, because you never know all the little cool things you're gonna find. I mean, there's definitely some rare plants that I've learned about in some of these garden shows, plus the seeds. And guess what? Gardeners are just really cool people. But if you can't make it or you didn't come, I'm here to report to you guys the coolest stuff having to do with edibles at the 2013 Flower and Garden Show here in San Francisco. Now we're walking up to the edible garden exhibits here at the 2013 San Francisco Flower and Garden Show, and in here it looks like to me like the majority of it is non-edibles, and it says edible garden exhibit. I mean, I guess you can't eat the roses. Roses are edible, but there's just, it looks like there's while there are different areas of plants, pollinator plants that attract pollinators and whatnot, this is just a small little edible garden, which to me is nothing really spectacular. I mean, they have different plants growing, and that's really cool, but there's no real techniques or, an area to show how people can do this at home. So like 2 years ago, the edible garden area was like twice this size, and in my opinion, a lot more impressive. Last year wasn't so good either, and it looks like to me this keeps going down and down. So maybe this is not an area that people are really requesting, and gardeners that come to this event are more into the flowers and other non-edibles than the edibles, and I think that's really sad. Now what we're looking at is the small space gardens here at the Flower and Garden Show. And I'm sad to say, I mean, while all these look pretty cool, there's maybe like 1 or 2 edible plants contained within them. To me, this garden show is more about just like, the artistry or architecture of gardening and making things look really cool and cutesy-pootsy. To me, gardening is about growing food and food that I can consume and edibles. So I'd really love to see a small space garden having to do with edibles, how to grow food, trees, shrubs, and even crops in a small space. Hopefully, maybe they'll even have that next year, but you know what? I'm just gonna bypass all this cutesy, pootsy stuff. Now we're gonna head into the Sproutopia area, and this is my favorite place of this whole garden show that shows the most about growing edibles, especially in small spaces. Plus, it's a whole area dedicated to kids and teaching kids how to grow. I mean, if you guys have kids, there's some incredible resources that I'll be sharing with you in a second so that you can teach your kids. Even better, if you're a teacher, they have different websites you can go to get material to teach your kids about growing food. So as you can see here, here's a cool bed. It's actually called the Green Bed. And it's simply all it is, it's a whole kit to make a raised bed. This kit's about 2 feet tall, and it's made out of this stuff here that I haven't seen before. It's actually called Fast Wall. And these are wood chip cement panels, so it's made out of old pallets and also combined with cement, so they are porous, and they basically have the some corner brackets to make the corners and screw it all in. You can easily do this with something like some hardy backer material, something like that, because that's also a cement board, and they just have a wood topping on it. And as you can see, they have a whole raised bed here, planted out, a whole bunch of vegetables, including one of my favorites, the red Russian kale, especially good to grow in the winter and the summertime. To learn more about the Green Bed, you can visit the website greenbed.net. Next thing we're going to talk about is this year they got a strawberry garden made with straw wattles. So the straw wattle is basically used for landscape control, also for containing spills and whatnot, but you can easily just buy a straw wattle. Many home improvement stores may have this, and fill it up with some soil and plant some strawberries, plant some herbs, even plant your lettuce or kale or collard greens. And here's some more ideas about growing food, and if you got an old wheelbarrow, you could definitely put some compost in there and grow some food in it. In addition, they got these fabric pots here, growing some food, so another easy, convenient solution. These are now coming in colors. That's really cool. Let's see, the next thing I want to show you guys, I got free seeds. So you missed out if you weren't able to get here. You're gonna get some seeds today. Maybe get some parsley and some cucumbers. But what I want to show you next also is this strawberry tower. So the strawberry tower is made out of the fabric pot once again. And it's, I don't know, probably about 2 feet tall, and it's pre-cut with holes so you can instantly plant it out in strawberries, or I would also maybe plant lettuce or other herbs. I don't know if I necessarily plant other things in here. Now, this is, because it is a fabric pot, it is, not super stable, so you might want to, put in some rebar to hold it, or lean it against something so it stays stable. The next thing, this is super cool, man. I want to show you guys this. This is a pallet garden. So you saw my past videos where I showed they had a pallet garden standing upright. Well, this is a pallet garden standing the long ways. It makes a nice little raised bed garden. So all they did was they took a pallet, they lined it with some plastic so it'll now hold some soil. They put some 4x4 posts on the corners to make it a little table. And then they planted in it. Now they left the cross pieces of wood on, but I would probably take a whole bunch out and maybe move some of these to the edges to make it more of a little raised bed. And yeah, while it's only like 3.5 inches deep, that's plenty enough room to grow some, shallow rooted plants such as lettuce and herbs. And I don't know, I might even try some of the greens that they have in here today. The last thing I want to show you guys over here is it's a very simple raised bed design. I mean, basically they got some 2x12 wood here. And this is just a standard construction grade, and yeah, that'll work. Coat it with a good non-toxic stain. It'll last a couple years. If you want to get better, might use some cedar or some redwood, which will even last longer. And instead of even screwing the wood together, they just got these nice corner brackets that are, have designs in it. So these have butterflies. This is actually called the Embrace, and I had that on our previous show. And it's just very simple to put one of these together. Get some pieces of wood. Your local Home Depot or Lowe's will even cut the wood for you. Come home, either screw it together, get some of these nice pretty braces, fill with some soil, and start growing today. I mean, it really is that easy. It doesn't take rocket science to start a garden. And I encourage everyone watching this to either start or even grow more food at home so you could be eating out of your garden instead of the supermarket. This whole edible area is sponsored by the American Community Gardening Association. They're at communitygarden.org, and I would highly encourage you guys to visit that website if you're interested in starting your own community garden. I think community gardens are a great resource to have, and I think every city should have a community garden. And at the communitygarden.org, they'll let you guys know how to start a community garden if you've never done it before, to start bringing community together so that everybody could start growing more. Now we're in the Kids Growing Strong area, and this is the whole area dedicated to kids and even big kids like myself that want to grow strawberries. Actually, what they're doing today is they're going to grow little strawberries out for you. These are little strawberry roots that actually they'll plant in a cow pot with the compost, and you could take it home and grow your own strawberries. So I think this is excellent little activity for kids or even adults to know, where strawberries come from just a little plant that might not even look alive. But more important than this, just strawberries, they have something really cool going on the other side. So let me show that to you guys next. What they're doing over here is they're teaching kids about the mighty greens and how powerful greens are. I mean, after all, the name of my show is called Growing Your Greens, because I want you guys to grow your greens, not only for your kids, but if you're adults too, and eat them, because greens are the most nutrient-dense foods on the entire planet. And it's my goal every day to eat 2 pounds. And by growing your garden, you could easily do that for free, because greens grow. So what they're doing here, which I think is really great, is they're making it fun for kids to grow some greens. What they have here is the mighty greens, and they've been using the Ninja Turtle dude there, and they got a little like Chinese takeout container, and they're filling it up with some compost, giving them a nice little tag, and sprouting this with the Asian greens. And Asian greens are good to grow because Asian greens generally grow pretty fast, so you'll see fairly quick results and be able to snack out of your own little greens. So I think teaching kids about greens, and us adults too, is very important, and I'm glad they're doing it. So if you have kids, you can learn more about some of the programs and some of the education and online resources they have at kidsgrowingstrong.org. One of the coolest things at these gardens is I get to find new and exciting technologies and products and things that can help you guys grow at home, and one of those is right here. It's at the Farm Fuel Inc. Company, and how they started was they started by finding something they could grow to grow fuel. So what they found was they grew this stuff right here. You guys might have maybe even eaten this last night for dinner if you had some mustard, because it's actually just mustard seed, and this is the Pacific Gold mustard seed, and besides this kind they have a Ida Gold mustard seed, and here's the standard Central Coast wild mustard seed. So what they're doing here is growing the mustard because they're, once again, looked at it for growing it as an oil, so they could, burn this in a converted diesel trucks and diesel tractors and whatnot. But aside from that, they found out there's some really good properties to it, like biofumant properties and weed suppression qualities, and could also, you know, counteract like fungus and nematodes, and this is an excellent cover crop. Once they grow the mustard, you know, to seed and get the seeds and they extract the oil, they have the press cake left, and that's this right here. This is how it comes out. And what they do is they put it in the flakes, or even they powder it up here, or they pelletize it. And they actually sell this as a fertilizer, a mustard meal fertilizer. So it's a 4.6, 3.39, and a 1.22 fertilizer. So this will enrich your garden. But in addition, it has some good properties. It has the same properties that I talked about. So it will help suppress weeds. It'll knock out the bad nematodes, but it'll also knock out all the beneficials in there. There'll be a reduction. But then after the reduction, there'll be a resurgence, and you know, the good beneficial bacteria will thrive and the negative ones will still be in a reduced population site. And this is an OMRI, organic certified product. And finally, they're selling some mustard seeds so you can grow these at your own place. One is right here. This is the Ida Gold, and this is the one that specifically has properties to suppress the weeds. And then they have the Pacific Gold mustard, and this reduces soil-borne pathogens. So if you have bad soil, then hey, grow some mustard, but be aware, unless you want mustard to become a weed in your yard or growing it till full term with the seed, you know, you want to harvest it when it's like right when it's flowering, and cut it down so that you know, these won't drop seeds and become a weed in your yard. The last thing that I want to share about mustard, it's a very beneficial crop. It has a nice taproot that goes down really deep to pull the nitrogen up. So when it pulls it up, you compost the plant after you're done with it, and then now you can enrich your garden with those properties. If you're interested in getting some of the mustard seed or the mustard seed fertilizer, which is a lot easier way to get the benefits of the mustard without having to grow it and all this stuff, you want to visit the website farmfuelinc.com. Now we're at the booth of Monrovia, and actually they're a big wholesale nursery, and you know, some nurseries around you may sell the starts or the plants from Monrovia. Well, they do have actually a lot of non-edibles. They also have some edibles, and I'm going to share with you guys actually some new introductions they have, actually some new and old ones. So my favorite blueberry they have here is this guy right here. This is actually called a bountiful blueberry. Now I like this because each of these flowers are going to turn into a blueberry, and you know, if you just get some common variety of blueberry, it may not produce as much fruit for you. So this is going to be very bountiful, as in the name. The other thing I like about this plant is that in the climate here, it's going to be an evergreen. It's going to keep its leaves all year long, even in the winter. In the winter time, the leaves are going to turn like a purplish color, and then they're going to start greening up when the weather warms up. So I like the evergreens that don't drop the leaves. So I'm actually going to pick some of these up today and grow these in a container. These are perfect for container growing. The last thing I want to share with you guys today is a new introduction, and actually this is called the raspberry shortcake. So this is a raspberry plant, but it's unlike any other raspberry plant that I've seen before. As you guys know, most raspberries grow up canes and like long stalks. This is actually a raspberry bush, so it grows like a little bush, and it will produce bountiful amounts of fruit. In addition, it's a thornless variety, and I'm really sad they don't have any more today, because I would have definitely got one to try to grow it at home and see what happens. So now we're going to check out another booth. This is probably my favorite seed booth of this whole event here, and it's actually called the Heirloom Seed Store at theheirloomseedstore.com. And what they offer is Franchi seeds, and what these are seeds from Italy. So these are seeds maybe not normally available at a place near you. So they're really unique seeds, and I guess I'll dive right in and share with you the most unique thing here. It's really trippy. The coolest thing that I haven't ever seen before is right here. This is a rack for growing specific plants, or mostly grasses, for specific animals. So if you like the bunnies or you have pet bunnies, check it out. You guys want to get this seed mixture here. This is seed mixture in here that you grow for your bunnies. So you plant the seeds, the bunnies love the greens that this will produce. You know, and the same thing if you got a canary, you could grow these greens for your canary. Those are the ones they'll like. Of course, you got a cat, you could grow some cat grass, and they got ones for hamsters. They got ones for, you know, squirrels. Hey, feed the squirrels the greens it loves so it doesn't, you know, eat out of your garden. In addition, one of the coolest, softest pets, and my friend used to have one of these, chinchilla. I love chinchillas, they're so soft. Don't forget to give them their chinchilla dust, but you can also grow some greens for your chinchilla, because greens are very important, and you guys should be eating your greens too. So next we're going to share with you some of the greens from Franke that they're offering here. While they have a whole bunch of different greens, we're going to focus on some unique varieties. I mean, they have lettuces and things, but they have different varieties that maybe you can't find here. But some of the things I want to talk about today are just some cool greens that you may be hard to find. You know, I personally grow this one. Actually, it's coming back as a weed and was going to be in a upcoming episode where I talk more about this. This is actually called the buckhorn plantain, and they use this as a nice leafy green. Another one is a unique green that's very hard to find is this guy right here. This is actually called the sculpit, and this is yet another leafy green that I've actually never tried. So I hope to grow this and then try some and see what it tastes like, because I think the more greens you can get into your diet, the better. Now, besides all the greens, they also have some unique crops you can grow, including one down here. You guys might like this one. For those of you guys that drink coffee, why don't you guys grow your own coffee plant? Well, this is definitely you know, one of those plants that grows in the tropics. So if you grow it, you need to definitely grow it inside. It likes some heat and also definitely a nice full sun. So this is kind of more of a, they actually call it Lee Bizarre, so like a bizarre plant. So check this out right here, one of my favorite greens that I'm going to start to grow. I just had some of this stuff probably about a couple months ago. It's called puntarelle, and the puntarelle is a kind of chicory, and while you can't eat the leaves, the thing that's going to form in the middle of it is like some kind of like, I don't know, like flowering stalk thing that, man, it tasted so good when I had it. It's like nice and mild and crunchy. So if you like something like lettuce stems or like broccoli stems that I love to eat, you're gonna love the puntarelle. So another thing I want you guys to focus on is grow a variety of different colors. Now, you know, many people know about the standard green beans that they have here, and many people grow green beans, but check it out, you could also grow purple beans, and check it out, even yellow beans. So imagine growing purple, green, and yellow beans all next to each other. You're definitely gonna trip some people out. It's gonna look really cool. Plus, you'll be able to eat different kinds of antioxidants, because every different pigment in a food is different antioxidants, which in my opinion are really beneficial for us. Besides just the greens, they have a whole selection of different style zucchinis. So, you know, they got these little round zucchinis here instead of just their standard long zucchinis. And even better yet, they got these guys right here, which are actually, these guys grow really long and they'll actually curve. These are called Tromba di Albenica, and that's actually a city in Italy. So seeds from Italy, different cities in Italy, you can now grow in your garden. I mean, if you're Italian, you want to grow some of your heritage foods, or even if you don't, you want to grow some unique foods that have different tastes and flavor sensations than the standard ones cultivated here. Plus, they might also grow better in your area. The last thing I want to share with you guys today, besides all the different peppers and tomato varieties they have, is right down over here. So one of my favorite foods, it's the radish. But did you know, besides just the standard red radish, you got white ones, purple ones, and yellow ones. So I like this packet here because now you're going to be able to grow a mixture and a rainbow of radish colors in your garden. Maybe one color might grow better than the other, or it's a great way to, once again, get more colors in your diet instead of the standard red one. I always encourage you guys to grow new and different varieties of plants, and that's what they're offering here, that you can get at the heirloomseedstore.com. So now we're going to check out yet another booth here and check it out, the Jora compost tumblers. This is a very compost tumbler that I'm using that I've been getting good results with. But you know, we're going to ask the compost experts here, you know, the question, you know, what's the one tip for composting that they could give to you to improve your pile and to compost all your kitchen and yard waste. So we're going to go over here and talk to Erika about this. Erika, what's the #1 tip you want to share with my viewers for, you know, for composting?
You know, I guess for composting, the #1 tip would be, I mean, depending on how involved in composting you want to be, there's all different types of methods for composting. I mean, if you're really wanting to get hands-on and you're able to maintain a compost pile, I think that'd be great. I mean, you can compost large amounts of your waste with a pile, and things break down great. And then if you want something really easy to use and that's going to be like rodent-proof and just something that you can put your kitchen waste into, give it a little bit of movement and have a little less maintenance, I think a tumbler would be an awesome alternative.
So I'm personally the kind of guy that, you know, I don't want to mess with the compost. I mean, yeah, I've piled up compost before and compost happens, and you know, sometimes it's taken a year because my pile wasn't have the right mixture and it didn't really work well. So that's why I like the Jora composter, because I just throw this stuff in there, and even if I'm doing it wrong, it still works. So that's really cool. Next one I want to share with you is actually one special tip that I've learned actually from the company here to make my compost happen really well. And that's these guys. Now, they recommended I use the wood pellets for my carbon source because the carbon source can be difficult to find. You know, many people can use paper, newspaper, you know, of course, leaves and sawdust, but that may be challenging to get for some people. So the compressed wood pellets make it really simple to, you know, compost effectively, and that's what I've learned, that it works just really well. And that's what I recommend you guys too. So you want to go to a feed store and buy it's used for bedding for the horses. And I think I buy like a 40-pound bag for like $7. Makes it a lot easier than collecting leaves and doing all this kind of stuff. Plus it works really efficiently, I've found. And the last thing I want to show you guys here is this is the finished compost and how your compost should look. I mean, it almost looks like the coffee grounds, you know, that you'd put in your coffee and, you know, to make coffee. And a little bit wet, but not too moist. Has a nice, neutral, earthy smell. Doesn't smell like rotten anything, and this would be great to put right in your garden to feed your soil, because the soil is the most important thing. I'm so happy that this year at the Flower and Garden Show they actually have Lydia's Loving Foods, and this is organic and plant-based foods that you can eat. You know, a lot of the gardeners I see here, you know, on the other side of the building, they have a whole bunch of, you know, highly processed, in my opinion, junk foods, and I want you guys out there to eat a, you know, plant-strong diet, eat more plants and less of the other stuff, because by eating more plants, you're going to definitely be healthier. So I'm glad they're offering people options here, and I hope at other garden shows they also offer, you know, plant-based options so people can eat healthier. Because to me, that's what gardening is all about, is growing food, eating healthy food so that you can be as healthy as you can and help the health of the planet at the same time. Now we're in the display garden area, and this is where they have the big fancy displays of gardening. And it's more like, you know, I don't know, like for non-edibles. And it really kind of sucks. I mean, some of them look really cool, and I love the design aspects and design elements. I mean, here's one over here. It looks kind of really cool. And yeah, I think I see some kumquats up there. But, you know, pretty much for the most part, there's nothing showing like edibles being used in landscaping, which is, you know, my goal. Usually every year there's a edible display usually, but that organization is not here this time, so I'm kind of sad. So in the display garden area, there's not a whole lot of edibles growing on, but one really cool thing is this concept right here. So you can see here, you could literally have a wall and grow things. And no, you don't want to be growing grass. You could be like, you know, use this same technique, but grow edibles like some herbs or some lettuce to grow out. So what they have here is basically some like framing 2x6s, and then nailed on some more 2x6s with spacing in between. And if I was to do this, I'd probably leave a little bit larger gaps. And now you could literally grow a vertical wall of vegetables like hanging out the side. It's definitely really cool. One of my favorite display gardens, believe it or not, is this right here. And there's not even a whole lot growing on, but what it is, it's educating people about the weeds, and it's more of like the artistic garden. And you can see they're using pallets here as like, you know, like a deck. They got some grass, although it could be edibles or could be some weeds, because that's what they're talking about here. They're talking about weeds and the benefits of weeds, and, you know, to honor the weeds. So they're allowing people to come up and make a little sign talking about weeds and then post it up. So let's take a look at a couple of them. Here's another way to think of weeds. Weeds help clean the air, and definitely nowadays with all the air pollution, we need all the help we could get. So bring it on, weeds. Here's another one. And the weeds will inherit the world. Well, hey, you know, if they're gonna inherit things, just start eating them first, and then we'll take over the weeds. This one says it all. Weeds are wonderful, only if you can eat them. Weeds are so good. Here's a funny one. My lower back does not like weeds. Does your lower back like the weeds? I like to eat the weeds, and I don't mind bending over. It gives me more exercise. Here's another cool one. You can always count on weeds. They'll always be there for you. And they'll always be there for you to eat. Just make sure you know the edible ones. Here's the last one I'm gonna share with you. It says, weeds are greens too. Eat the edible ones. They're cheaper than organic. And guess who said that? GrowingYourGreens.com. Now we're at the display garden of Dan Posey, landscape architect, who designed this whole thing. And, you know, Dan does a lot of work with restoration. His website to learn more about him is landscaperestoration.net. He tries to incorporate edibles and, you know, even permaculture into the design to get edibles back into the landscape. Whether you want to have all edibles or part edibles, he's done award-winning designs, and he's available in the Bay Area actually. But why we're here today is because besides just doing the design, he gets somebody set up on using natural methods, and that's why he has actually the Boogie Brew people here, you know, talking about their products and how to basically rebuild the soil, because, you know, the answer is in the soil. It's having good soil so your plants can grow, and not only grow, but thrive. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually talk to the founder of the Boogie Brew and ask him one simple question. Now we're with Josh, the creator of the Boogie Brew compost tea that I like so much, but we're going to ask him a different question today. So Josh, if somebody can't brew their own compost tea, because you got me believing in this stuff, I mean, how can somebody best enrich their garden for my viewers out there?
Without using my one-stop shop, Super Compost Tea.
Okay, none of that stuff, man. Just
right.
tell me how they can...
No propaganda here about compost tea, folks. Best way you can do that is make your own freaking compost, folks. And you want to find the right carbon to nitrogen ratio, and you want to get in there, make a pile, and start turning it, folks. Maybe you don't even have the ability to buy a compost drum. You know, obviously, if you can afford it, get yourself the great tumblers that are out there. We've all heard about the one from Sweden. There's also a few other good ones. You have some already. But just start putting your food scraps. Don't put them into the bin. Create that carbon life force. You need that topsoil. More than we need to be able to grow our own food, we need to be able to create the topsoil to grow it in the first place. Suburbia's dying. Guess what? It takes 10 kilocalories of fossil fuel energy to make 1 calorie of food energy before you cook it in the typical American dinner. The typical American dinner table, once again, like you heard it, 10 kilocalories of fossil fuel energy to create 1 calorie of food energy. Think about that, folks. Something has to change. Our great-grandparents, they would go out there and dig. It's time to start digging. Use the hands that God gave you. You know, they're actually designed to sit there and make love to the soil, you know, paw the soil, right, John, right?
That's it, man.
I mean, look at you, man. You are the man, John, man. God bless you for doing what you do. Keep educating yourselves, folks. Get that optimum blend going. Try not to use any meat scraps unless you have the luxury of one of these super composters. Get in there, put your food scraps in there, find some local wood chips. Maybe you can find a landscaper down the road who's just chopped down a tree. If you see that by the side of the road, and it looks like a place that hasn't been sprayed with herbicide, stop and ask him, hey amigo, before you go, you know, one more carbon footprint of taking valuable fungal component to soil with them away to a land dump in a truck. Hold on a minute, folks. That could go into your neighborhood compost pile. Another thing you can do is join a community farm. Folks, they're sprouting up all over America. Now, I keep hearing these stories of places where people are actually being denied the right to have their own farming. So, like I said, thank you, America. Thanks for believing in Boogie, and keep on growing, like John says.
All right, Josh, thanks a lot, man. I would definitely agree with Josh on that. If you can't brew your compost tea, at least make compost, whether you're using, you know, your food scraps, a good carbon source like composting the wood chips on their own, a fungal-dominated pile, and also have the bacterial pile, and add them together. I mean, everybody's got some food scraps. They can start to compost and start building their garden, you know, today instead of tomorrow. The last thing we're going to leave you guys with in the display garden is this little display here. I like it because actually you incorporate aquaculture into the design with a little tranquil water stream running down with a little cool like flume ride log that the water trickles down into. Definitely think this is really cool, and what they're using is they're just using standard nursery flats with the roots hanging down below into the water, fed with the fish wastes. So in any case, I hope you guys surely enjoyed this visit to the 2013 San Francisco Flower and Garden Show. Once again, my name is John Kohler with GrowingYourGreens.com. We'll see you next time, and remember, keep on growing.